How you doing? This is Brian Watkins in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's December 2013. I've been saying recently I'm going to make a video about racism. People have been asking me, well, not constantly, but have asked me from time to time what I thought about racism, divide and conquer. Since I always, as you all know and read, I've always mentioned divide and conquer. So I'm going to explain to you my personal experience from childhood up until now regarding racism. I used to be, like many of us were, or some still are, the angry black man. And this is why. I grew up on a farm in Sacramento, California. It was pretty much an all predominantly white community, the schools I went to. I was bullied a lot by some of the white kids. And don't turn this off because, trust me, you're going to want to hear the whole thing. And as people who know me now know, I'm far from racist, especially since I've personally connected some of my white male friends up with black women in the past, good-looking black women at that. So, and I don't even care if my daughter marries a white man as long as he's a good guy. If not, then I'm going to bust him. But I just want to clarify that and get that out. But anyway, the communities I grew up in, I was bullied, unfortunately, by some children. For the most part, were white, and some, as I grew older, were black. But my point is this. I hung around a kid at the time, he's a man now. Haven't found him. His name was Chad Rose. In sixth grade, we used to hang around. I remember him well, and I'm surprised because I don't remember people that well, especially their names. I mean, I run into people still today who know my first and last name, and I'm thinking, as I'm talking to them, hopefully I remember them. I'm saying to myself, who the hell is this person? But it happens. But anyway, his name is Chad Rose. I remember him also, and he had a broken collarbone one time. I remember that as well. We hung around each other for a while, and we used to talk about racism, and he was the one that started to take my mind out of the indoctrination about racism and putting my mindset into the education of divide and conquer. Now, granted, I wasn't saying this then like I'm saying now. I didn't even know these words at that time, at that young age. But Chad Rose was the one I remember distinctly who woke me up to that. And there was another fellow who, now this is funny. Me and this guy, we were almost at a fist fight. That close, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and him and I became good friends. His name was Chad Grantham. He joined the Marine Corps in the early 90s. I tried to look for him, I couldn't find him. His name was Chad Grantham, another white individual. But it started to open my mind up more about racism than my parents taught me about racism, roots, slavery, so forth and so on. And then what really exploded my mind to racism was the movie with Denzel Washington, Matthew Broderick. I forgot that quick, so I'm on film. I'm talking to a big audience, but I forgot the name of the movie that quick. But anyway, it's about the Civil War. I'm sure it's going to come to me as I'm doing this. And that really, really opened my mind up. And I'm thinking, during that time, you got to understand, in the 1800s, racism was at its finest. Blacks were just fairly new to this country. But during that time, that war to me was not about racism, which I thought, like many were indoctrinated to believe at the time, which in actuality it wasn't. That war was about, as I looked at it a dozen times, Glory. That was the name of the movie, Glory. And it was a glorious movie. But anyway, that movie to me, it made me, I learned a few things. One, how black and white can come together and achieve a goal. Two, how black and white can come together, though they may have hatred towards each other for whatever damn reason, they can still come together and achieve a goal. Three, it showed bravery on both sides. A lot of the whites, I'm sure, were scared giving blacks weapons, thinking that they were going to shoot them whenever. That didn't happen. And I'm sure a lot of a lot of blacks were thinking, okay, well, they may kill us since we have weapons, and they may kill us because they don't trust us with the weapons. Who knows what they were thinking? I'm sure a lot of them were thinking things like this. But it showed, excuse me. I get sensitive with some things, but excuse me. Shit. This is another reason why I prolong making this video, because I can be tough in a lot of areas, but I can be weak in some areas, but Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Those experiences in that movie, it opened my mind up to a lot of things. So these are just my reminders. This is coming from my own mouth and my own heart, but these are just reminders to where I want to go on my subject. So I'll start out with the Founding Fathers. Were some of them racist, in my opinion? Yes. That was in the 1700s. I mean, come think about it. Yeah, they were. But all of them racist? No, I don't believe that. You got to understand, at that time, you have to cater to both sides. It's that simple. It's unfortunate, but it's that simple. You know, I tried to make this video before and I kept stopping because of this. But I'm going to keep it on. I'm going to just keep it on. I have to. Those men. Excuse me, 1 minute. Oh, jeez. Sorry. Okay, the Founding Fathers, those men had to do something probably beyond their scope. They had to cater to a new race of people, blacks, coming to this country. They knew for a fact eventually racism will go away. And even this is something they really talk about. A lot of the Founding Fathers, there were 55 Founding Fathers. A lot of the Founding Fathers, they even wanted to put into the Declaration of Independence that all men, including blacks, are created equal. They wanted to put that term in there, but a lot of people were against it. Some were for, some were against it. So, and I hear, and this message, this point right now, the videos to the blacks out there who say, well, oh, the Founding Fathers, they didn't write that for us and this and that. Yeah, they did. They wrote it for everybody. Unfortunately, because I used to have the same attitude, we were indoctrinated because the powers that be wants to keep the races divided and conquered. It's that simple. Just like with the Latino race, they are divided and conquered. Because I hear it. Maybe Puerto Rican against Hispanic, ones from Spain against Puerto Ricans or Cubans or whatever. That's divide and conquer. Black and white's divide and conquer. And believe it or not, dark-skinned black and light-skinned black, that too is divided and conquered. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the whole damn thing. And I give you one example when it comes to light-skinned black and dark-skinned black. This happened to me in a barbershop in Cleveland, Ohio on St. Clair. I forgot the name of it. It's on St. Clair. It was two businesses from a tattoo shop. I go in to get a haircut, and I see a black lady in there. She's beautiful. Dark-skinned, beautiful lady. I tried to talk to her, and she said to me, and I'll never forget this. I was floored because this never happened to me before. She said to me, and I quote, as I'm trying to talk to her, I don't talk to you light-skinned brothers. You all think you're too cute for somebody, so I only talk to dark-skinned brothers. That's what she said. And I was I was like aghast. I'm like, okay, what did I do? God knows what was going through my mind. But again, divide and conquer, because of brainwashing through the centuries, decades and centuries. You keep races divided and conquered even amongst themselves, you can control that race of people. It's time to get past that. We need to be split from the corrupt, the powers that be, the bankers who foment this divide and conquer and everything else. They do. That's who we need to be going against. We need to join an alliance and come together as one, just as the black soldiers and the white soldiers in the Civil War did. I'm getting my composure. So, excuse me. Certain topics I get deep. I'm sorry, I just do. And now I'm going to bring you your attention to another divide and conquer between Republican and Democrat. Everybody talks about, well, Lincoln was a Republican. Yes, Lincoln was a Republican. However, and this is to Republicans and Democrats and to all alike, and I took myself out of this mindset. Yeah, I say I'm a libertarian, but I have a lot more libertarian views. I do. I don't associate with no particular party. Lincoln was a Republican, but he thought more liberal. Just like a lot of the Democrats in the South were Democrats, but they thought extremely conservative. And some, when I say conservative, a lot of the conservative views were very good, but their conservative views about between black and white were not. We all know that. This is why when LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act, a lot of the Democrats in the South joined the Republican Party. But my point is this. When it comes to political issues, don't pay attention to the topic that's on the issue. Again, I'll say that again. Don't pay attention to the topic that's on the issue. Pay attention to the issue, period. So when someone wants to put a label on something, I don't care about the label. The label, well, it's like a newspaper. And it's like a book cover. When they say don't judge a book by its cover, and a lot of people do. I used to do the same thing. When you see a label in a newspaper, you want to automatically judge what's in the article before reading it, and you think you got the context just by the heading, which is something I used to do. Don't do that. I listen to both sides of Republicans and Democrats. I do. And I give you two perfect examples, which is why I don't look at TV no more, especially the news. MSNBC and Fox News. Fox News always talks bad about MSNBC, and MSNBC always talks bad about divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. So again, I don't look at none of them. I don't. I used to look at both to get. No, I look at the writings and books is what I do now. I don't care about the news. I just don't. I don't care about the news. Unless it's the History Channel or the Military Channel. Once in a blue moon, a boxing match. Even I don't watch those no much no more because those are so fixed and fighters want to pick and choose their own. No. But I won't. I'm digressing a little, so sorry. I get back to the point. Well, no, that was kind of on the point. Anyway, quit being divided and conquered. Quit doing it. Quit doing it. Open your minds, wake up, and read into things versus just reading on top of things. Just like, example, the book that I'm reading by Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. Reading law, you don't just read the words, but you have to read what's in the law. That is what that means by reading law. Same thing with the races. Quit looking at people by the color, what they can do, what they can't. That's what here. And I'm going to read something to you right quick. And this is to blacks because I didn't know this myself. And no, this, you know what? This is not to black. Whites, you should know this too. Be honest with you. 1909. Jacob Schiff founds the National Advancement for the Association of Colored People, the NAACP. This is done to incite black people into rioting, looting, and other forms of disorder in order to cause a rift between the black and white communities. Well, that didn't work out so well. Jewish historian Howard, I'll spell his last name, Sachar, states the following in his book, A History of the Jews in America. In 1914, Professor Emrys Joel Spingarn of Columbia University became chairman of the NAACP and recruited for his board such Jewish leaders as Jacob Schiff, Jacob Belikoff, and Rabbi Stephen Wise. The first black that came into the NAACP didn't happen until 60 years after that. So what does that tell you? Divide and conquer yet again. That's all it is. Now, I go on to the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment, which were all led to believe, so as I was just to free the slaves. Wrong. That was not true. That was part of it. They wanted you to think that to drive your attention away from the truth of the 13th Amendment, come to find out. The 13th Amendment was really titled Title of Nobility, which is extremely important, which I would highly advise you all to read. Two guys, one was a... what's that on? Sorry. Sorry. Anyway, I thought someone was at the door, but I want to keep this going. The 13th Amendment, the beginning of the 13th Amendment, that was about titles of nobility, meaning they did not, the founding fathers, and presidents at that time, they knew corruption by lawyers was going to infiltrate our country. They knew it. Titles of nobility means esquire attorneys. That's the title. You were not allowed to serve in any political office whatsoever. They knew this was coming because they knew how the corporations, the bankers, were dividing and conquering countries. Divide and conquer yet again. That's the crux of the 13th Amendment, mainly. They wanted to make sure that bankers did not infiltrate, which they already have now, our political system and our laws. Who runs the world? Corporations. Who do corporations, who writes our laws? Pretty much corporations. Who do corporations need to foment their unconstitutional, corrupt laws? Attorneys. That's why if you look at an attorney's card, you see ESQ meaning Esquire, also Squire, which goes back to England, who really controls our judicial system. Then you'll see what I'm talking about. 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment is the word citizen. Citizen means corporate entity. You're a corporation. Now, a lot of blacks, as myself, used to think, oh, well, that was for us. No, it wasn't. Certain lawmakers, whoever they may be, the powers that be obviously influenced them. They saw and knew the black race was going to be growing. So they wanted, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever. They saw a race of people that's going to be growing and being heavily populated in the country. So they figured, okay, we'll attach a citizen to them as well, so we can pretty much use them for money, like they're doing all of us, like we're all slaves to debt, like we're all cattle and chattel property to the bankers. Same thing. It doesn't matter. You could have been black, white, whatever. So they put that word citizen in there to drive, again, your attention away from the real truth, the real crux of their devious, tyrannical acts. Again, divide and conquer. They divided us from the truth, is my point, is what I'm getting at. They divided us from the truth. It's that simple. Now, and if you also look up in Title 26, the CFR 1.1-1, CFR means Code of Federal Regulations, that also defines what citizen is as well. So, it's amazing. It's really amazing. And now I'm going to bring my attention to JFK. JFK, to me personally, after really, really knowing him more and reading about him more, he was one of the best, I'll say the top 3 or 4 presidents in our country's history, simply because what he was about to do. Stop the Fed, pull our troops out of Vietnam, he was going to do something, and shut down the CIA, which they need to be shut down badly. They need to go just as bad as the Fed needs to go. But JFK was another one. In the 1950s, he was not for civil rights. But after, as I read, the reason he was not for civil rights, because even in the 50s, you got to understand, racism was still very high. He had to cater to both sides. I mean, you got to put yourself in these men's positions. And this is what I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to the minorities, especially the blacks, because you get your mind set on one thing like a racehorse, and you don't see what's around you. John F. Kennedy had to cater to both sides at that time. His brother, Robert Kennedy, was actually more influential than JFK, believe it or not. He was the one that turned his tide to make him go for the civil rights as well. It was Robert Kennedy who really did that. But again, at that time, quit thinking racism at that time is like it is now. Is it like that in some parts? Yeah, it is. I mean, racism 200 years from now is not going to go away. I really believe that. It's just not. It's not going to go away. Fortunately, it's not like it used to be. Thank God. But, and that's my experience with racism. Sorry for earlier. I get choked up on deep topics. And excuse myself from leaving earlier. I thought I heard somebody at the door, but I wanted to keep it going. So that's how I look at racism. Do I like it? Heck no. Who does? I don't. I hate it. Did I used to think that all whites were bad at a very young, indoctrinated age? Yeah, I did. I'm not gonna lie about it. Look what I experienced. But fortunately, I grew out of that. And I was by two white gentlemen who helped me with that a great deal. And that was Chad Rose. I just noticed something. They both had the same first name. That's weird. Chad Rose and Chad Grantham. Chad and Chad. That's weird, huh? That just hit me just now. Anyway, but I grew past that. I did. It's just divide and conquer. That's all it is. That's what they want. If you're divided and conquered, you're taken away from what their corrupt acts really, from the corrupt acts. You're being taken away from their corrupt, tyrannical acts and what they're trying to accomplish. And what they have, till this day, have accomplished. Divide and conquer. Another one. The genocide in Africa, Rwanda, I think it was, with the, some of you know about this, the Hutus and the Tutsis. You know what that was really about? In my personal opinion, that was about dark-skinned blacks against light-skinned blacks. That's what that was really about. That's it in a nutshell. That movie, School Days, that was about divide and conquer against dark-skinned and blacks. Same thing. Same thing. So you got divide and conquer racism even amongst the own races. I've heard he was white. One calling someone white trailer trash, and one calling someone a white preppy individual. I mean, who cares? Who excuse my language on this, who gives a shit? You're a person, you're an individual. We're one. We have to come, I'll tell you now, and to the corrupt, if it is another civil war, and I don't want it to be, but it is, it's not going to be nothing about color. It's going to be us against you. That's what it's going to be about. Yeah, that's what it's going to be about. Maybe that needs to happen. Maybe it does. I don't know. What do you think? I don't really want to go into what I really think, because I'm pretty confident a lot of you already know what I think, because I don't pull no punches as to what I think or as to what I want to say. Never have, never will. So, and like I said, I do these videos so you get to know more who Brian Watkins really is and how I really think as opposed to how I used to think. But to a lot of blacks out there, don't think all whites are bad, because they're not. They're not. They're not. Just, I'm sorry, I got to close with this. My man Ron Paul. Now, we've all heard this. Oh, Ron Paul's racist. Oh, he's racist. No, Ron Paul is not racist. Ron Paul is only racist because you've been indoctrinated, you've been indoctrinated to think that he's racist. He's not racist. And this is true. And I didn't, honestly, whether you believe it or not, I don't care. I didn't know this until 2 years after I started to support Ron Paul. I never knew Ron Paul used to speak out about some of the injustice with blacks within our justice system. I never knew that. I swear to God, I just can't happen to come across that one day on YouTube. And guess who told me about that? Was a white gentleman. I'm not going to say his name because I asked him, but he didn't want me to say his name. So I always ask people, can I say their name on certain topics? The other two, I'm sure they wouldn't mind me saying that. Chad Grantham and Chad Rose, about what I said earlier. I'm sure they wouldn't mind that at all. Besides, I haven't laid eyes on them in about 20 plus years anyway. So, but, no, Ron Paul is not racist. Because people say, well, he was against the Civil Rights Act and he wouldn't allow blacks to go into people's diners. That's not what he was saying. Again, you have to really read and look into what someone's saying. He was not saying that restaurant owners should kick blacks out. That's not what he was saying. He was saying simply a restaurant owner can decide who comes and who goes. That's all he was getting at. The crux of that, you have your unalienable rights to do what you want. Same thing if a black owner could do the same thing. That's all he was relaying. But the propaganda and the news media, who's controlled by who? The bankers, wanted to, again, foment and instigate racism about divide and conquer. Think about this. You think Obama would have won if most of the majority of blacks were actually voting for Ron Paul? No, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have had a chance. I voted for, and people want to know this. Well, stuff started coming to my head, so people wanted to know this well about me. And I always put things on 100% rate. 25% of the reason why I voted for Obama the first time, and only the first time, because he was black. And I say that because I wanted to help, hopefully, when the world sees a black figure in America, it will bring the races closer together. That was one of the reasons why I voted for him. The 75% of the reason why I voted for Obama, I believed a lot of shit that he said, which all was a lie. He didn't have transparency. The healthcare system was all crap. What else was I thought honestly, I swear, I thought honestly he was going to totally obliterate, completely repeal the entire USA Patriot Act. I really thought that. I swear I did. That he reinforced it. Then comes the NDAA Act, which was the second term, but I didn't vote for him to say. I voted for not Ron Paul, he didn't run, the Gary Johnson, the third party ticket. So, because people want to hear my insights on Obama as well. And again, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat. I don't care. If you are a constitutionalist, you've got my vote, period. End of story. You can be purple. And personally, and I'll say this, even if you are racist, again, as long as you are a constitutionalist, you can still be racist, honestly, and still support the Constitution, make it fair for everybody. I'm sure that may be hard for some. I don't know. I'm just saying hypothetical. That's what I'm getting at. But if you are for the Constitution, and I'm not talking about during your campaign trail, and then when you get in the office, you flip. I'm talking about through and through. And again, we won't know that until you're elected, unfortunately. But so that's it in a nutshell. With me, that's been my experience with racism. I'm sure we all had our own experiences with racism, and I'm sure there's also a lot of whites out there who used to be bullied, even by blacks, and thought all blacks were bad, which is not true. So, you know, it's just a lot. And this is also funny. I keep saying I'm going to close with this, but this, honestly, I'm going to stop with at this point. I remember one time I used to be bullied, and this is true. This is a true story, true stuff. I think I was in 4th or 5th grade. It was before I met Chad Rose in 6th grade, so yeah, it was before that. I used to get bullied, and these two white girls, I don't remember who they are to save my life. I was getting bullied one time, and these two white girls came out of nowhere and beat the shit out of the two guys that were bullying me. That was funny. And they used to hang around me and used to walk me home sometimes. I don't remember who they are. I wish I knew so I can thank them. You know, a lot of stuff comes to your mind as you get older. Your mind pattern and thought starts to change as you get older. And statistics have been proven from when I read long ago, your mindset changes every 8 to 10 years on average in a wide range of areas. But yeah, that was that one girl, boy, she beat that dude. I'm a kid looking at this. Well, what the heck you think I'm going to think? I was just at awe looking at it. But anyway, so quit being divided and conquered. They tried it with the Trayvon Martin thing. They tried to divide and conquer with that as well. You know, and my thing with that is I just wanted to know what were the legalities about self-defense. That's what I was concentrating on myself. But that's me, because it was about law. And I wanted to know what the law ramifications were regarding standing your ground and self-defense and whatever. So when I see cases on the internet, Facebook, whatever, the first thing that comes to my mind, okay, what laws were violated or what laws were not violated? That's the first and foremost with me, but that's me. So it's been 30 minutes, so I'm going to end it now. I hope I covered everything. I hope it came out right. I guess. I hope it did anyway. But like I said, I didn't use no cue cards with this. This came from my heart. This is how I feel. Sorry if I got choked up at the beginning. Like, like I'm going to get choked up now. Certain topics are very sensitive to me. They are. And that's it. So, I got to go right now. But you all take care. Quit being divided and conquered. And we have a big fight against on our hands, and that's against the corrupt. That's the only one I'm concentrating on. That's it. Just the corrupt. That's it. So, take care of yourself.